Hello, AfterBuzzers. We are here tonight, finally, for the Bloodline Season 2 finale. I cannot believe it. Did someone bite the dust? We're going to talk about all of it right here on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah.
Yes.
The finale's here, guys. Can you believe it?
I'm like very sad right now, actually.
I just want season 3.
I know.
Like now.
I know. Welcome, AfterBuzzers, all of you. It is time for us to talk Season 2,
Yes.
Episode 10, Part 23.
Yes.
Bloodline. It's the finale.
And everyone get ready for a very long wait for Season 3.
Yeah.
If we learned anything about Season 2, we've got like a whole year ahead of us.
I'm
Yeah.
very sad. I hope it's faster. Anyway,
I do too.
if you are not subscribing, is that me? I don't know what that background. I don't know what to do.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Anyway,
great.
We'll just put all the phones in the center. If you're not already subscribing, please subscribe. AfterBuzz, YouTube.com/AfterBuzz TV. Follow us everywhere. We're on Twitter. We're on Snapchat. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere. You can always find us. I'm your host, Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere now because I just joined Snapchat.
She did. She did.
At the Alison Dean, and I have a full panel. It's all of us tonight to break it all down.
We came together for the finale.
Thank God.
I am Blake V, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and the Snap at Blake V Media.
I am Abby Vega. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at _Abby Vega. And since we're including Snapchat, you can find me at vega.abby.
Yes, and I'm Angela Struck. You can find me on Twitter at @TheAngelaStruck and on Instagram and Snapchat at Angela Struck.
Yay!
Like, I feel like we need to like have lighters right now. Like, it's such a
know.
sad
I know.
day, you know?
Or
It's like
slow
the last
jam.
time we'll hear the song for a year is really, I don't know.
Somebody put your phone on airplane mode if you haven't. Somebody, because sometimes the
Well, that somebody might be me, so...
Maybe it'll
I'm like, maybe I
Let's
need to
try
do
it.
that.
I know. Let's see. Huh. Okay. Well,
I just
okay.
did it too.
There's that. I don't
Okay.
know. We'll see if that helps.
I don't know.
We're all on airplane mode.
Oh,
So,
okay, we're good. I think we're good
friends?
anyway. So here we go.
Oh,
Perfect.
Okay.
Love you. Okay, let's break it down. So we open tonight. Diana, she's looking very pensive. She is sitting outside. We know that this is going to be a moment of truth. John walks out. He looks like death.
Like he has all season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But especially poor.
Like straight-ish
Yeah.
And basically,
is what I would say.
basically tells her that things are not good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty crazy that he's finally admitting it. Mm-hmm. I mean, because he's always like, he can carry, the world on his shoulders and he'll find a way. And now he's kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to find a way.
And Diana has been asking episode after episode.
She has.
Are we safe?
Yeah.
Are we good? Are we good? Don't tell me, but are we good?
Bless her. Like,
And for once, they're not good.
Well,
and he finally
yeah.
says, like, no.
and like props to her, honestly, because she stuck with him.
Yeah.
Until this point. But at this point, she reasonably is worried about her and her kids.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'll stick with you as long as we're safe and you're taking care of it. I'll stay by your side. But there gets to a certain point where when your kids are getting involved and they have no idea what's even happening, you gotta stop, and that's what she did.
But also, wouldn't you be a little freaked out if you found out that your husband killed somebody? I don't think you'd be like, I'm leaving you now. Like, I'm mad. Like, I think you'd be like, let me just play my cards.
But I think Diana knows that John, to me, at least, I don't think that he's this dangerous, awful person. I think that
It was
just
a
been
matter of
pushed.
circumstance.
Yeah, it was circumstance. He got
Yes.
pushed so far. And then now this is how he is. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't think she was ever nervous of him
Threatened.
hurting her.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it would, though, bring another layer, like, about, like, the kids. Like, you know, if he felt like she was going to take the kids and everything, I could see him, like, I don't know, go a little crazy.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not kill her, but I'm just
But
saying,
be territorial and
I
protective.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like she's trying to, like, walk the line between, like, let's just, like, get through this.
And I feel like an interesting aspect is the fact that he is a cop.
Right.
He is running for sheriff. And she's not. She's the wife. And we see how Ms. Ortiz is getting treated with the whole Gary situation.
Oy.
So, granted, she may not be privy to that, but I mean, I think it's that dynamic. It's like, okay, you have a powerful husband that has a lot of, clout and advantage, and, as the wife, what do you do? Like, if you find yourself in a situation like that, what can you really do? I mean, who's going to go against the husband?
Yeah.
So, there might be some of that at play.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And actually, let's piggyback on the whole Miss Ortiz thing.
Yes.
Thought it was kind of interesting. Here we thought that all signs were pointing to Marco and Aguirre going to be held up for quite some time. And look what happened. Suddenly, a little hiccup, and Miss Ortiz changes testimony. It's all fine and dandy somehow. What happened? So Aguirre got to her?
Which is so mysterious.
Yeah. They haven't addressed that yet.
No.
Really.
Thank you, season 3. Maybe
I think
it'll
that's
happen.
what it is.
You think?
Yeah, and I'll talk about it when we talk about Marco, but I think that's what happened.
Yeah,
I think
because
that's right.
Miss Ortiz reached out to John on her own accord and was like, "I'm ready. Let's do this. I'm gonna back you." And then just to suddenly, change plans and then scurry away. We saw that scene where John comes out of the police station, I think, and Miss Ortiz is scurrying away, I don't want to face it. That's very interesting too. It's well, what happened and why aren't you so forward with it as you were requesting John's help?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
More to come with that.
I think they like to leave open-ended for
Yes, they
season
do.
3, so we don't really know exactly what's going on there yet.
So I think it's in our best interest to sort of hold discussion on siblings, maybe, since it's sort of a very overlapping storyline,
Yes.
this one. So let's just quickly chat about Eve and Ozzy. So we know Eve's been staying at the Rayburn house.
Right.
Ozzy shows up. Ozzy knows.
He will not let her go.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, I'm like, well, I like that. 'Cause that's kinda romantic.
Yeah,
He's scary though.
he is so scary. He is, but I understand where he's coming from because
He bought her a guitar.
he was with her. He made a good point. I've been the one who's there with you, and I think part of it too. It would just suck to see. Because I think her intentions are good at this point. I think she's happy to finally have a family. I don't think she's out for money anymore. I think she truly just wants to be a part of the family.
Yeah.
And I think he sees that as such a threat because he can't offer her anything that compares to that.
Yeah.
I think too, a lot of times you hear single moms are when they bring a boyfriend into their life, they're like, my son or my, daughter is always number one, and whatever, if you want to be a part of that, that's great. But I think Ozzy needs to understand at this point, it is so in Nolan's best interest to be at that house, and for Eve, it's a great environment as well. So I think she's kind of listen, back off. I've got it made here. I'm sorry that you were collateral damage, but
She was using him until something better came along.
Right.
So.
But how good is John Leguizamo
God.
as Ozzy?
Oh, he's great.
Oh man, all his interactions and just the way that he plays everyone, the way that Ozzy just has just the perfect way to craft the conversation to get the right amount of creepy and the right amount of invasive, but the person doesn't know. I mean, it's very well crafted.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a very
impressive.
artful.
So artful, and just the exchange and the way that he words the questions.
Don't you
for the
kinda love
follow-up.
him?
Oh, he's great.
Love him.
He found the humanity in the character, right? Because they always
Yes.
say when you're playing a villain type,
Sure.
if you just play them one layer, it's just going to be so blah. But
Yeah.
he's found the parts of Ozzy that
Are
you can
dynamic.
relate to, as you said. Oh, I feel bad for him. He's invested in in this relationship, and now he's getting left behind.
It's why we all fell in love with Ben Mendelsohn last season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ben, just my heart aches for you, Ben.
I'm not sure I love Ozzy that much.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. He's
great.
I don't know. I love him, kind of.
As
For what he
a
is.
person in this puzzle, no, he's threatening and scary and all of this, but as a character, as an
Yes.
individual,
Yeah.
See,
he's so multifaceted, and I love it.
you guys, I feel the same way about Eric as I think you guys feel about Ozzy. I love Eric
this season.
I love him. I love the character.
He's
totally
good.
agree with you, Abby.
This was his episode.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, this was all Eric.
that
You know, I feel like this
that
season
scene.
really-
It was. It's because he's the underdog who, like Kevin says at one point, Eric effing O'Bannon has the power, you know? It's the person you'd least expect in season 1 to come into episode 2 having all this knowledge and information, and you don't even think he's smart enough to get away with it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's surprising.
Yes, or makes an entire character shift when in season 1 we're thinking like, oh, this bad guy like getting Danny into trouble, whatever.
Right.
When in season 2 he comes out as like
how happy was Jamie McShane when he was reading every script? He's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we had him in studio a few episodes ago,
Amazing.
he even said one of his favorite scenes to film was the
Yeah.
scene
With John.
Which I can see why.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was
And
so
another
good.
thing he said when he was in here is, because we were talking about like good people and bad people in this show, and he straight up said, he's like, I think Eric actually is one of the good guys on this show, like the good people who just got majorly caught up in
Bad stuff.
Yeah.
Survival mode. Like,
Exactly.
just got wrapped up in stuff that wasn't necessarily the greatest thing for
And
you.
honestly, compared to everyone else on the show, his actions aren't even seeming as bad. Like stealing gas.
You're like,
Holding someone at gunpoint. That doesn't seem so bad when you're
or
murdering
stealing gas.
or flamingo whacking people.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
So one thing that happened,
Dolphin,
the exchange between Ozzy and Eric, when Ozzy came to Eric and said, you know, you're holding stuff back from me, there's a part of that where I wonder how much Eric revealed to Ozzy. Part of me thinks he did not tell Ozzy anything about the seahorse necklace.
Oh, no.
So, but then he said to Ozzy, I've told you everything. And I'm like, you've told him everything. What does that mean?
I think he knows that Ozzy's a loose cannon, and I think at this point he's.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he definitely didn't tell Ozzy that, because Ozzy, I think, is so like hysterical and like goes on passion and like doesn't think. So I think Eric knew if he told him any of that information, that could have been revealed to anyone
At any time.
At any time.
Yeah.
And I think when he says he told him everything, it was mostly about the inn, what happened that night at the inn, because Ozzy never really brings up the other stuff that I remember.
doesn't.
So I think it's really just that instance, and I think that was really all kind of Eric had to go off of on like, something sketchy. And then I think from there he started to draw his own conclusions. But I think even he's like a little scared about that because he knows he's messing with the Rayburns, which is a very powerful family. So I think he doesn't really want to tell anybody about that except for like Marco, who, you know, so he feels
who is
safe.
the only one who has the leverage over the Rayburns right now.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, the whole conversation is very interesting, and the fact that he goes in so aggressive, Ozzy, and he like pulls out the gun. He has him at gunpoint. And he's like demand
Chelsea, I love her.
Chelsea for the win.
Yes. Badass coming out with like
comes
the
around the
huge-
corner. Yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was.
It really was. We got some interesting.
And then it was funny because Eric follows Chelsea inside, and she's like, "These people you hang around with, I tell you." And he's like, "I swear, it was just business, like he's a
it's
kid or something."
It's like, what business? Yeah.
Business.
I was like, I don't like
Anyway,
this
I
business
like that
anymore.
moment.
I don't like. Yeah, that was a good exchange. We got some flashbacks, thankfully, because I like seeing Ben Mendelsohn.
And they were pretty major.
Pretty major flashbacks. So we saw an exchange between Robert and Danny and Nolan.
Yeah, we haven't seen Robert in a while.
No, we have not. And, you know, after that exchange and just kind of like all the information we now know about the fire and this and that, I feel like Nolan set the fire.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They already showed
Definitely. They showed that.
it. They showed it in a flashback a couple episodes ago.
Did they really?
Yeah.
There was a whole
They
scene.
show him with like
he
gas.
put like
and,
gas on
On
a
the
pot
stove.
of gas on the stove.
Where was I?
It was like it was the lead into the fire. It wasn't like full fire yet.
They,
but
they
it was
showed him
like,
light a match kind of thing.
But he had
And
so
then
many
he-
like pensive moments in this episode where he was like thinking back on the whole insurance claim and not getting any money.
Or even Eve was like, "Yeah, we don't really know. We don't really know what happened with that fire."
And you're like, no, we know. We know.
Yeah.
We know.
Right.
We know. And Robert wasn't looking so fantastic. He was not looking so fantastic. But I was happy
He's
to see
just
him.
he's like so.
I feel like I'm trying to like I'm trying to like like build into all the siblings. Okay, what else can we talk about?
Right.
Let's talk about Gilbert real fast and the whole
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
What's going on with the boats?
You were right.
I called that he has some ulterior motive
I
for
did.
helping in the campaign.
See, I didn't get any really super bad
also,
vibes from him.
Sally said like, don't trust him and everything.
Oh yeah, until last episode, I wasn't suspicious, but I wasn't here last week. But you had said it a couple episodes ago, and I was like, I don't get super bad vibes. Like, yeah, it's weird he wants to help Kevin, but he didn't seem really bad. And then Sally,
What's he doing?
Did we know that he had access to the tape?
no.
No. This
That's
is a big
big.
reveal.
That's
Okay,
big.
yes.
But see, I think
Who
that's
gave him access to the tape?
Well, this is the thing, guys. Like I'm
Ben?
saying, like he's definitely got some. He's been a mastermind through this whole thing. That's
Yeah.
definitely what I see coming for season 3. Like I think we're going to see a lot more of him because I think he has a major plan going on. And when we saw at the end, he's involved in the drug ring.
Yes, and he's leveraging
He's gonna
the
use-
debts and the troubles of the Rayburn family to use it against
Exactly.
them
Oh,
in
yeah.
season 3.
Yeah.
It's gonna be such a good season.
Do you think to
So
use
good.
against them or to use them as his puppets?
Oh yeah,
that-
puppets.
yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean, they're already crumbling. I mean, it's like what's
Right.
What else can go wrong
Yeah.
for the Rayburns?
a whole lot, but I mean, it's really not looking promising.
Yeah, it made me feel like potentially like Robert screwed him over, Gilbert
Oh, yeah.
over, and now Gilbert's like seeking his revenge.
It's almost like Robert Rayburn caused all of this.
Yeah.
His
Whoa.
tainted
Yeah, sins of the
being
fathers. You know that expression
Yes.
like comes down on the kids.
Trickles
like,
down.
yeah.
And he's not here to deal with it, so they're all.
There you
freaking
go.
Robert.
All right, we're
Robert
gonna talk about the
Rayburn.
kids now.
Okay, I'm ready.
I think it's time. Like this.
And then do we
whole-
get to talk about duck lips?
Yes, of course.
Wait, do it again.
Of course.
Marco's face every time he's in thought,
Yeah.
or anytime really.
Yeah,
Have you not noticed that?
Oh my gosh,
No, he has a
does
face.
like he does
does.
this like I'm gonna get you ducklet face.
He does. We covered this last week.
Yeah.
He totally does.
Okay, but siblings.
It's very adorable. I mean, feel free to. Yeah, feel free.
We should act
Whenever
it
I'm
out. You make
thinking, I'll do it.
ducklet. I'll get a dolphin and hit you. You make ducklet.
All right, so Marco tells Eric he's gonna get him immunity. We know this, and that sort of leads to a downward spiral with all the kids because suddenly
John
John
finds
tells Meg that Eric knows some stuff. Meg is told not to tell Kevin. She tells Kevin. Then it's sort of more of a downward spiral.
And talk about crumbling. Like Meg, to me, this episode was just the vision of crumbling.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
she just lost it.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this anymore. Like
She can't
get
take
away
it.
from me with this.
Yeah.
Was there something? Okay, this is what confused me about the whole sibling thing. Is every time that Meg has talked to John, John's like, I'm just gonna confess, and Meg goes, No, don't do that, and John's like, I'll take full responsibility.
Kevin.
No, when
Well-
she would talk to John.
Okay.
I know there was one conversation when it was just Meg and John a couple episodes ago.
No, it was in this one when he was showing her the footage. When he was showing
And
her
he
the
said he would
footage.
confess?
No, not even
on
that.
the
This was a
tape.
couple episodes ago. They were standing like under some deck or some house, and he brought up how he was gonna confess, and she's like, "What about the kid? All the stuff." And then so that's why I was so confused when she like turned on him, and then John was like, "You guys did this too." It just all
Yeah, I
Do
know
you
what
know
you
what I'm
mean.
talking
I know
about?
exactly what you're saying. He kind of was like, "I'll take responsibility,"
Yeah.
and she was like, "No."
Yeah, and then now she's like,
she
"Take
was like, "You better
responsibility."
take responsibility," and it was kind of weird. But I guess it just speaks to the fact
Yeah.
that they're all over the place. I don't know, but I know what you're talking about. It kind of threw me too because
Yeah,
I was
'cause-
like, "Why are they like now acting like John should step up?" He kind of said he would.
He totally did. I don't know what episode it was, but he definitely said, "I will take responsibility."
Maybe though the reality of the situation
Yeah.
also is that he can't.
Yeah, he can't, 'cause
it's
they're
all too
involved.
intertwined.
Yeah.
It's not only that though; it's the fact that now that there's this footage from
There's
Yeah,
a video
they're all
and they're all in
involved.
it.
right,
Yeah.
and so it doesn't make a difference
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're all on the tapes,
Right.
And the story does
Exactly.
not align.
And that's so funny because I feel what you guys said, but the opposite. I feel like I understood John this whole time to be saying, it's all on me. Please know that none of this is on you. I will take the blame and everything, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then when Meg and Kevin had the standoff against John, he was like
Outside?
surprised. Yeah.
See, no, that's what I'm
and
saying.
he
I
was
think
like, what? You're blaming me? And they were like, well, yeah, you've been saying this whole time. And he's like, what?
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's why I was confused. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
it just swapped
Yeah.
because it was totally like that. Like I
Yeah.
thought that John was telling them the whole time up until this point. Like, I'll take it.
Saying the same thing.
And they were saying no, and then now they're saying take responsibility, and then he's saying, you guys did it too.
Maybe because he was just mad that they're even like saying that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you're
Absolutely.
abandoning me? Like, really? Where were you when you were telling me to handle it? Like, Kevin was like grabbing the gun, if you remember in season 1, like, I'm gonna go handle it. Like, they all wanted him dead. And I think that's what John was saying, like, you know, I've said I will, but like, don't commit me to like, you know, that it was all my fault.
Yeah.
What a nice touch it was in that scene with the 3 of them outside too, where Meg and Kevin both had their sunglasses on and John threw his back in the car.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
So he was fully vulnerable in that scene, right? Because he wasn't masked by any...
Shades, as it were.
But the kids, I mean, Meg and Kevin, full on black, like, whoa, visors, no eyes, can't see. Can't see to their souls. The window blocked.
Yes.
I thought that was very lovely.
That is.
But he
some cool
deliberately did
symbolism.
throw them back into the car, because if you watch that scene, he had sunglasses on and he then tossed them through the window.
Yeah.
I think he's like done with the BS. He's just like, we gotta handle this. And they're still like in this like la la land about it all.
It's going to be really interesting to see how they position everything for.
Yeah,
I know.
I think this is the first time too, because we said that John was trying, you know, he kind of had a grasp on things a little bit, somewhat. And I think this episode, like you said, with just the glasses, I didn't even notice that, but it kind of shows how he was with Diana too. It's like, you know, we're not okay. Like, this is, he doesn't even know what to do anymore.
Right.
It's hitting the
He's
fan.
dug himself the deepest of holes and he cannot get out of it.
Right. So after that scene, there's a level of cleansing that Kevin wants to have with Marco. He wants to have a little chatty chat. Abby's already having conniptions. She's like, okay.
I was stressed.
Oh my god. This is
was a
stressful.
stressful episode.
It
Yeah.
was.
But
Well, it's
Kevin's
also-
just so dumb.
Kevin is
like,
so
in
dumb.
what world do you just go and say, like, sorry, like, you know, I was involved in conspiring murder and, like, you know, drug smuggling, but, like...
And Marco says,
like,
you're forgiven.
It was more my brother. Like, what? Like, typical Rayburn youngest child syndrome, I guess.
It's so interesting to me because, in my opinion, if Kevin and Meg would have told Marco this
Long ago?
Marco, you've seen, he's been completely changed by this family. And because he used to be, I truly think, was a great person.
Well, this family and Aguirre.
And everything, yeah.
Aguirre, is very interesting to
Yes.
me in terms of his, like, manipulation of this. Because, Marco was best friends with the Rayburn family, with Meg and John. I mean, he was very team Rayburn. And then, like, somewhere along the way, which I feel like to us as the viewers was not identified very clearly, he, like, switched teams. And he's now back on Team Aguirre. And that's very cloudy and interesting to me.
I think it was when Marco started to figure out that he was being deceived. Or so when he was really putting the puzzle together and realizing that people were lying to him. And that's when I think there was a point for Marco when he was really hopeful that the Rayburn family was on the up and up.
Yeah.
But once he realized that he was being deceived, it was like game over.
Yeah. And how about when Marco, it was pretty funny, because it made me curious to how long exactly Marco knew John was the killer, because the way he said, no shit, when Kevin goes, it was John, Marco said it as though he knew
Matter-of-factly.
for a while, but was just looking for the things to prove it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he said it to me, I don't know, it could just be me reading it, but he seemed like he had known. Like, obviously he did it.
Interesting.
So interesting.
I don't know.
I mean, it could have been that he realized it recently, but you know, was like, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
More like a question.
Suddenly, no shit. Really, no shit.
I think too with Marco, as we saw, I mean, he was willing to, you know, cover up this domestic abuse situation. So he's obviously very career driven, and like I think Aguirre was kind of like, listen, you've got a history with me, and like I'm, you know, gonna be mayor again or whatever it is, and like, you know, you want to be on Team Aguirre, not Team Rayburn, and like check it out. And the more he did, he started to find things. I think also he was really hurt by Meg. I think they make that very clear that like
It's a personal attack.
there's like a personal vendetta there that he's like, she cheated. You know, it wasn't like they just like fell out of love. Like she cheated
Hard.
And they were engaged.
Yes, they
right.
were.
So
dirty pool.
Yeah,
that will do that.
Megan, not Megan. They never call her Megan, but Meg.
I imagine that's what it's short for, though. So fine.
Meg was like almost pathetic, trying to like get back with Marco or something, calling him.
Well, I mean, obviously she's having
meltdown.
Yes, I mean, she doesn't know what's up and what's down right now.
And
you know?
I think it's less about getting back with him and more about like getting
Easy
to
life
getting
before.
straight.
Level.
Yes.
Let's get level.
Do you think it was more to get level with him, so when all of this comes out that maybe he'd be like,
no, I think it was really just to get level with him.
Yeah.
Because they have such a history that I think for her, and that's also why I think she was very clear with John, like, don't use the information you have about Ortiz and everything.
Yeah.
Don't use this because I don't want to do that to him. I think that's really her saying, I still care about this guy.
Yeah.
You know?
And the kind of meltdown she had in the car with Kevin, where she was like, do what you need to do, but
I can't go in
do
there.
it.
Right.
I can't face him. I can't talk to him. I think that was very telling. You know, to her relationship with him.
I think that also shows how big of a funk Meg is in, that she let Kevin do that. Because, you know, like, we clearly know that. Exactly.
Yeah. Don't send Kevin anywhere by himself. We know
liability.
The fact she let him go in there was just shows how bad she is in, because she would never in her right mind let Kevin go in to confess all this stuff.
Yeah, but she also never always underestimates how bad Kevin can be. Like, you know, he like ran
is
off.
shocking.
Like,
it's like, really? Danny was
Shocking.
the bad one? No.
Kevin's like, and seconds before, Kevin's saying, I'm gonna have a baby. I can't have this on me. Okay, but you're.
All right, so we're obviously getting to something in this.
Kevin's brain is just like,
fried.
fried from
He was
all the
doing
drugs.
so well.
It's not present. So they're juxtaposing two things. So simultaneously, Kevin's going in to talk to Marco, John is going to talk to Eric O'Bannon, and John is going to talk to Eric because honestly, he's been now told by his siblings that the buck stops with Eric O'Bannon. So if Eric doesn't talk, all is well in the world. But we don't factor in is the other side of the coin, which is the fact that Marco is the only person that really knows that Eric is the clincher in this puzzle. And lo and behold, some stuff is going to go down on both sides of the pond. Yes. So which one shall we begin with?
I think John, and then let's
talk about
end
John.
on.
So John has a come to Jesus. It was John. It was actually, we heard this when Blake and I went to go see a screening with the whole cast. This was like the favorite scene that went down this season between the two of them. I mean, obviously we know Jamie McShane, when he was here, he mentioned this was the scene that he was referring to when he said, I had a very heavy scene. That was the one.
how good were they both?
It was
amazing.
Epic. It was epic. Yeah.
They're so good.
It was quite good.
was stressed.
Now, did you think John was going to kill Eric O'Bannon?
I thought he was gonna hurt himself.
You thought John was going to hurt himself. You thought John was going to
Yeah.
You thought Eric was
No,
gonna
I
hurt
thought
him.
John. I thought he was gonna be so, like, when he had the gun up there, I thought he was gonna turn on himself.
Oh, see, I didn't. I thought he'd do Eric. I thought he'd try and kill Eric, but I also thought that maybe he just couldn't do it, because
Right.
I do think deep down, like, John is not a bad guy. I do think that he has like some sense of, you know, moral compass, and like, I don't think, you know, pulling a trigger on somebody is really within him unless they were, you know.
So, and then I thought at the end of it that it was maybe a little more intentional, and that he didn't kill him intentionally, like as a threat. Like, he knew all along he wasn't going to kill him, but he was going to sure as hell make him think that he was going to kill him. To be like, you better not freaking talk, because this is going to happen to you if you do.
See, I can
But
see
don't
that.
you
scare
think
him so
that
hard,
by,
you know?
by him not doing it, that almost shows like, oh, he's not going to kill me.
I also feel like,
know what I mean?
I don't know if Eric O'Bannon now has, I don't know if he has like a fear of death either. Like, he's been in so many like effed up situations at this point, where I think for him, especially because of what happened to Danny, he's all the more like balls to the wall. Like, he could give, you know what I mean? Like, he wants to be vindicated for his friend, and he doesn't really care what's gonna happen at this point. Like, he wants to do right by Danny.
He really doesn't have anything to lose.
No,
That's exactly.
He does not.
He has no relationship. Yeah.
But I can understand where you're coming from with John with that, because the way he like drove off at the end, he seemed almost not like relaxed or calm, but he was so much
sure of
less.
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
very sure because.
Don't you think he's running away?
No, yeah, but in that moment though, he was so like spastic, and that's why my mind kind of went, oh my gosh, is he gonna hurt himself? I don't know why that came across my mind, but it did.
That's very interesting.
Because he was so emotional, and Eric was kind of reassuring him of all the messed up things that he did and what.
For instance, you're losing everything because you killed your brother, asshole.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe that's
you know what I mean? And that also showed your guys' side about Eric has nothing to lose. You know, if you have a gun held to your head, you're not going to be provoking the person doing it. But at this point, it's all on the table.
I think so. Like, I think Eric...
He just doesn't care at this point.
Right. I think that's what it is. And he really wants to, like, prove a point with John, you know?
Yeah.
He knows what's going on, and he knows what's going on also in John's world, because John's not doing well. He can tell. I mean, he's not an idiot.
Yeah, Eric
And I mean, think about it from the perspective that all Eric's life, he's been told, like, he and Danny have been told that John is Mr. Nice Guy. John is doing everything right. So I think if Eric has an opportunity to show the world that, like, I wasn't the bad guy all along, he was, like, he'll do anything to make that point, I think, and just show, you know, that he's not the bad guy after all.
Yeah, it would be like vindication for him.
Yeah.
Well, John does not kill Eric O'Bannon.
Yeah.
At least not then.
Yeah.
And
He's running.
yeah.
That's what's assumed, right?
I think so.
Yes.
Didn't he throw the
So it
phone and everything?
seems.
I'm trying to think. What did he do?
I thought he just drove away.
Yeah.
Do I remember
I thought he
that?
just drove away.
Yeah, because then he was in the car and Danny showed up again, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Good old
I
Ben
thought he got
Mendelsohn.
rid of his phone. Am I making that
Yeah,
up?
I don't remember that.
I don't recall
can't
that
remember.
either. Do you have any?
He may have.
I
recollection?
thought I remembered that there was some kind of action of like, I'm
Boom.
out.
He threw the key down.
Yeah,
The key-
to
the
get
handcuffs,
Eric
yeah.
out. Yeah,
It's not
but I don't know.
going to bode well for his political campaign if he's not in
No.
town.
Yeah, I
I mean,
know.
the whole thing.
But it's
Maybe I'm wrong there. We'll
with
see.
Eric.
No, well, yeah.
With
Yeah.
Eric too, it's like fun. I never thought about it till now, but how they were kind of. Eric and Marco actually have a lot of similarities in regards to like the Rayburn family and them thinking that
Taking down the
because they're
Rayburn family.
they're just very different. They're totally different types of people and characters. But in regards to the Rayburns, like they're both so fed up with them just thinking that they can do whatever they want and get away with it.
Right.
So I feel like Eric feels that exact way about John, the same way that Marco is like, Kevin, you think that just because you're telling me this now and you didn't actually do it, that you're gonna get away with it? I think they're both just so annoyed with this family and them thinking that they can do whatever.
All right, well, Eric is going to live to see another day, or at least live to see season 3, episode 1. So let's talk about Kevin with Marco.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How great
Everyone
was
doesn't
that?
want to talk about this because we don't know what happened.
Right.
So Kevin goes to confess to Marco. He really wants Marco to hear him. He wants to feel like he's getting something off of his chest, and I think he also wants to feel on some level that Marco's going to say to him, "It's okay."
Yeah.
I think that's
I think he's gonna be like, "Oh, great, you can be a witness, and like you'll be cleared."
I had such mixed feelings about this whole scenario because on one hand I was like, Kevin, what is wrong in your brain? Like, what is wrong with your brain that you think that this is an okay situation?
Yeah.
But whatever, he goes. And then as he was like pleading his case, he seemed so heartfelt, Kevin.
I
Like he really
know.
was just like, man, I'm just trying to do the right thing. I'm just really trying to do the right thing. And then I'm like,
he really
is
like
Marco-
emphatically. Yeah, you're right.
And then I'm like, is Marco kind of being a dick?
Yeah, I know.
I actually had that thought for a second, but then no.
Yeah, and I like put it in my notes. I'm like, Marco, you're kind of being a jerk.
Well,
yeah.
I think in Marco's defense though, at this
No,
point,
I felt that way. Like we all
Yeah.
felt bad for him. I mean, he was like the kid that was like,
Please,
I know
please."
I stole
Yeah.
the cupcake, but like I'm really sorry.
Yeah,
I did it.
I'm
yeah.
really sorry.
Can I like not have time out as a result?
Because I almost felt like Marco would. I feel like if I was in Marco's position and here comes Kevin storming into my house, I would take the position of like, oh,
take it in,
oh,
yeah.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh,
No.
you did? Okay,
No.
that's great,
But he's
Kevin.
fed up, I guess.
Take it in and then
No,
like,
yeah, he totally is.
squash him after.
No, because here's the thing. He's giving
I
Kevin
agree.
enough chances.
Oh, yeah.
He's gone to see Kevin at the boatyard. He's had Kevin come back into the police station. Like he's done so many things to give Kevin opportunities to say, here's what went down. work with me.
I, however, am a firm believer that when someone storms into your home, you just like appease them till they're out of your home.
Yeah, okay. No argument there. Okay, yes.
Well, again, I think it was him underestimating Kevin's craziness.
Yes.
And
he doesn't know
getting
Kevin's
emotional about the
craziness.
case. Getting emotional about the case. Because I think if Marco was something he wasn't connected to, he would do that. I think he would take it in and be like, okay, let me bring you in on Monday and like,
Yes. We'll
you
deal
know,
with
get
it
it.
then.
Yeah, like
This
I
is
don't
very
think he would be
interesting.
That
like,
would've been
let me
better.
teach you.
Well, another
That's the vein that I was on.
Another thing though too is because for me at first I was thinking, okay, why isn't he just like taking in the information so he could use it? But then now I'm thinking, Marco at this point knows he has them. He has Eric O'Bannon. He has all the stuff that he needs. So at this point, Kevin telling him anything isn't gonna help.
anything.
It's not gonna do anything.
But I mean, I think you know, you always. I would think as a detective, like the more evidence, the more you know
I know.
information, the better.
And to diffuse the situation at hand. Like he may already know, fine. And
Right.
whatever Kevin tells him, whatever. It could all be BS anyways. But to be like, okay, sure, Kevin. Like, just, I don't know what. Just like diffuse the situation.
But I still was not expecting that.
Okay,
No,
so
I think we were all expecting John to kill Eric, and nobody saw,
What?
you know,
True.
Kevin gonna
No, never
kill.
saw that.
It was a distraction.
Marco.
Question, really quick question. When Marco got the call from Eric,
why
Yes.
did he turn his back? Who does that?
do we think Kevin knew who was on
Yes,
that
I
phone
do.
call?
Yeah, I do.
You do.
Oh, you do?
Did he say Eric? Yeah. Because at that
He
point,
said Eric?
at that point, Kevin also knew that Eric.
That's
He
true.
knew about Eric.
Kevin
and
knows
he knew
that Eric
and
knows.
he knew Marco had leverage of something. So
So
Kevin
maybe
knew.
he's just like, oh shit.
But like, yeah,
He was looking at the camera
Yeah.
with the face of like he's talking to Eric, and Marco's reconfirming. Okay, you can come. We'll do the confession sooner.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
he knew.
I didn't
he
get
did say that.
You're
No,
right.
because he definitely was saying like, okay, I'll whatever. But to me, the turning the back thing, like, yeah, but at the same time, when you're with someone, I kind of do that. Like, if I get a phone call, I step away. You know, like, because
That's kind of how I feel. Like,
Yeah.
I almost felt like Kevin would not have a way of knowing it was Eric.
Yeah.
No, he knew.
Like, Marco could be talking to many people on many
Yeah.
cases, or like, who knows? So for Kevin to just immediately be like,
Well, see,
I think he was already freaked out though,
think he was
I think he's like, this is my opportunity because otherwise I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Well, he knew that if Eric. Okay, so the only person that really knew about Eric was Marco and them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if he took care
Right.
of Marco,
Right. Exactly.
then shabammers.
And then somebody just needs to go take care of Eric.
Now,
and they're good to
here's
go.
the puzzle. The piece of the puzzle that Kevin didn't necessarily know was how much Marco had already told Aguirre about the whole situation. So that's something that obviously we can take into season 3. But lo and behold, Kevin takes some
Dolphin.
it? Like a dolphin figurine.
It was
that
hard.
Was it cement? I don't
looked
know.
marble.
I read the funniest
marble.
review on Entertainment Weekly. They were like, and just like the icing on the cake is being killed by a guy in adventure sandals. He's like wearing his like beach sandals and like
of
his like cargo
course.
shorts. It was just like so ridiculous.
the dolphin was like a Wyland.
Yeah.
You know, the Wyland.
He had at
Yes.
it. He
It's
used
just-
that dolphin.
What?
So ridiculous.
What is happening in his mind that he thinks that his just a like okay, he didn't actually kill Danny. Yeah, him and Meg helped. They'd be in deep crap too. But what in his mind thinks that killing a detective is gonna or trying to?
Yeah.
And just, if they thought shiz was hitting the fan now,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, dear.
Lord, this is going to be a whole other can of
hey,
worms.
great for season 3.
Yeah,
though, guys. Like,
definitely.
because I was kind of like,
Great for us.
I don't know where this is going. Like, where is this
Yeah.
gonna go? I mean,
Also interesting for Kevin to have that immediate flip of emotion, because at first he was coming in very
Pleading.
genuine.
Pleading.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
please take pity on me, forgiveness. And then he was just like, oh, JK, like, let me just do you in.
what's
Yeah.
that phrase though? Like, the biggest thing to fear is like a desperate man. Like he has like nothing. It's the same as what we were saying about Eric.
But he has
Like,
a baby coming.
Yeah, but like he'll lose it all at this point. Like if Marco walks
He's
out of
still
this
Meg.
room and like, yeah, but
it's
I mean,
looking-
at least he's like, well, this had to be done.
But like I
don't
said,
know.
him and Meg would not be in as deep as John would have been. Like they would have some sort of chance at
Still be-
helping, but now you're just
They were conspiring, you know, they were a
Whatever.
part
I
of it
can't
all.
handle Kevin Rayburn.
Yeah.
He is too much.
Well, he's cut off. We're done with you, Kevin.
Here's what I still don't know. It's possible that Marco.
I think he's
not
alive.
dead.
No.
I think he's alive.
We have many votes, and this would lead into.
Wait, what about Sally and
We'll
Meg?
talk about. We can share this in like predictions.
Okay.
too,
We'll
I think.
pepper it in.
We'll pepper it into our predictions. So
All
let's
right.
do that. Abby's very eager.
You're
I just don't even know. No,
Yeah.
Oh
my
Sally, that.
Well, because what we're left with is Meg going to visit Sally in tears, saying, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
But tell you what?
Yeah.
Because we've been teased with moments like this before
Yes.
where Meg or maybe even other people are like about to tell something major and
it's
then they
not.
don't.
Yeah, right. And we also know, and I've said this before too, I really feel like Sally is going to give us something. I don't know when. It was not in season 2.
We've been
It was
waiting.
not.
I mean,
I
give us
know.
something like what, like
I think
She
Sally
has
knows.
deeper involvement in all of this than
Like
than
the fact
we are
that she
privy
knows
to.
what she knows about Gilbert,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
all that stuff. It's like
I think that's why she wants to be clued in, because I think she's like, guys, I know things like about this town and
Yeah.
you know everything.
like you're
that's-
just dumb for not sharing
yeah,
sooner.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Okay, predictions.
I predict that Marco is dead.
Okay.
And I think
You're
that
going with dead. We got one dead. Okay.
I'm going with that. I think that we have not seen the end of Ozzy, and I think we've not seen the end of Gilbert. I think that John is like trying to run away. I think that Gilbert's gonna be like, you better come back. Like you're like, I'm, you know, financing
control
your
you.
whole campaign, and like I'm gonna help you out of this, but you're gonna be my puppet. I think that's something to the effect. That's
Okay.
what I'm guessing.
All right.
I think that Marco's alive.
Okay, one for alive.
I
We got
also
one dead, one alive.
am just curious about Ozzy because that guy came to take him out of the hotel room, and I don't really know what that's all about and how he's getting involved.
It's
or
one of
whatever.
Gilbert's guys.
Yeah, one of Gilbert's
just
guys.
Once again.
That's right.
I also think that Meg actually might tell Sally everything, but in my mind, I feel like Sally like knows. I feel like Potts has still been working, even though we haven't seen him.
Hell yeah!
And I think he might resurface in season 3, and she's gonna be like, I knew, I was just waiting for you, you know, or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
All right.
I get the vibes that Meg is not ready to cop to it. I think she had a moment of weakness. I think that when we see her divulge whatever she's divulging to Sally, it'll be like, oh, I miss Marco, or I don't know, something. Like it's not going to be what we think it is. And Gilbert, for sure, is trying to start up the drug ring or some other kind of illegal smuggle something with his creepy crony that he's got
Yeah, that
lurking
guy.
around.
That guy is creepy.
That goon.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's all going to be through John Rayburn's new sheriffness.
Okay, no wait. Dead or alive?
Dead
Blake?
or alive?
I'm going dead.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
2 dead and 2 alive. 'Cause I'm gonna vote that Marco is somehow gonna survive somehow.
Maybe some memory loss.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think Ozzy, yeah, for sure. We haven't seen the last of John Leguizamo, and I also think that Potts is going to resurface. I think there's a lot of juiciness in
That
store
would be
for us for season
interesting,
3.
yeah.
I am very excited for season 3, and like Blake said earlier, it's not going to come soon enough.
No,
But it's been a fantastic season, and we're so thrilled that all of you have joined us for all of this. I've been your host, Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere until next year, I guess, of season 3 at the Alison Dean. Where can they find you, Blake?
And I've been Blake V. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and the Snap at Blake V Media.
And I'm Abby Vega. You can find me at _Abby Vega.
And I'm Angela Struck, and you can find me on Twitter at the Angela Struck and on Instagram and Snapchat at Angela Struck.
Everyone, thank you so much
you.
for a fantastic
Guys.
season.
Love you.
Till season 3. I know, it's so sad.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.